Recently, Daystar made the decision to terminate my son Jonathan Lamb's employment.
In a shocking twist, Julie Roys and Jimmy Evans have dropped bombshell revelations about Joni Lamb that could change everything. This dramatic confrontation is filled with tension, as deeply personal secrets are brought to light.
That happened in 2020, and a police report was filed,
leaving audiences on the edge of their seats. What lies behind the smiles and public personas? As the layers peel back, prepare for an eye-opening exploration of loyalty, betrayal, and the quest for truth. This is a story you don't want to miss. Stay tuned as we uncover the explosive details of this unfolding drama. The rise of the Lamb dynasty. In the late 1990s, a spark ignited in the world of Christian broadcasting, a spark that would soon turn into a roaring fire. Enter Marcus and Joni Lamb, a couple with a vision larger than life itself. They saw a gap in the Christian media landscape, a chance to create something revolutionary. And just like that, in 1997, Daystar Television Network was born, emerging from humble beginnings into a powerhouse of faith-based programming. The Lambs poured their hearts and souls into this venture, broadcasting from a modest facility in Bedford, Texas. Their goal? To spread the gospel far and wide, reaching millions of souls hungry for spiritual nourishment. And they didn't just aim for the local audience, they dreamed big, looking to make an impact across the globe. It didn't take long for Daystar to gain traction. With a mix of inspiring preaching, uplifting music, and engaging talk shows, the network quickly captivated viewers. The Lambs were determined to provide a platform where Christian voices could be heard, and their dedication paid off. By the early 2000s, Daystar was not just surviving, it was thriving. They expanded their programming, introducing a diverse lineup of shows that showcased everything from healing ministries to family values. At the heart of this meteoric rise was Joni Lamb, a force of nature and a captivating presence on screen. With her warm smile and passionate delivery, she quickly became the face of Daystar. Joni wasn't just another television host. She was a spiritual leader who connected deeply with her audience. People tuned in not just for the content, but for her authenticity and charisma. Joni had a knack for making everyone feel like they were part of something bigger, a family united in faith. As Daystar's popularity soared, so did its influence. The network became a beacon for Christians seeking hope and inspiration. They hosted large-scale events, packed with energetic worship and powerful sermons, drawing crowds from all walks of life. The Lambs were not just broadcasting, they were building a community, fostering a sense of belonging among their viewers. Daystar wasn't just a network, it was a movement. By the mid-2000s, Daystar had achieved remarkable milestones. They reached millions of households across the United States and beyond, with programming aired in multiple languages. The network expanded its reach internationally, bringing the message of hope and faith to places where it was desperately needed. Joni and Marcus Lamb were no longer just local celebrities. They were recognized figures in the global Christian community. The seeds of conflict. As Daystar's popularity skyrocketed, the Lamb family appeared to be living the dream. However, behind the scenes, the glittering facade began to show signs of wear. It was a classic case of success-breeding contention, and the very foundation that had united the family was starting to crack under the pressure. The Lambs, once a tight-knit crew working toward a common goal, found themselves caught in a web of differing ambitions and personal dynamics that would set the stage for a dramatic fallout. At the heart of this growing discord was Joni Lamb's fierce leadership style. While many admired her for her passion and charisma, not everyone in the family felt the same way. Joni was a force to be reckoned with, unapologetically assertive and driven by her vision for Daystar. But as she took the reins, some family members began to feel sidelined, their voices drowned out by her powerful presence. What once felt like a collaborative effort started to morph into a power struggle that would shake the very core of the Lamb dynasty. Early signs of tension bubbled to the surface during family meetings. These gatherings, which had once been filled with laughter and camaraderie, began to feel more like battlegrounds. Discussions about the future of Daystar turned into heated debates, with accusations flying and emotions running high. Imagine a room filled with passionate individuals, each with a stake in the future, only to find themselves at odds with each other. The atmosphere was thick with unspoken grievances and simmering resentment. As the stakes grew higher, differing visions for Daystar's future became glaringly evident. Joni envisioned a global empire, a network that would not just spread the gospel, but dominate the Christian media landscape. Meanwhile, other family members saw the need for a more measured approach. one that prioritized community engagement over expansion. This clash of ideologies created a rift that deepened with each passing meeting. The family members who once stood shoulder to shoulder in the ministry now found themselves on opposing sides of a growing divide. One particularly pivotal event marked the beginning of the end for the Lambs' unity. During a high-profile fundraising gala, tensions reached a boiling point. Joni delivered a passionate speech about the importance of faith and vision, but her remarks struck a nerve with some family members. Rather than rallying everyone together, her words felt like a directive, a call to arms that many interpreted as a dismissal of their concerns. The night ended in whispers and awkward glances, with family members retreating to their corners, each nursing their own frustrations. The fallout from this gala was palpable. Discontent simmered beneath the surface, fueling rumors and speculation among the staff and supporters of Daystar. Those close to the family began to notice the changes in dynamics. Where there had once been laughter and warmth, there now lingered an air of tension and uncertainty. Supporters, who had once viewed the Lamb family as a united front, began to question the stability of their beloved network. As the months passed, the rifts only widened. Family members started to take sides, aligning themselves with either Joni's ambitious vision or the more conservative approach that some advocated. This schism not only affected family relationships, but also began to seep into the very fabric of Daystar itself. Staff members felt the impact of the discord, as the once cohesive team struggled to align under the weight of conflicting goals. The seeds of conflict had been sown, and the Lamb family was about to learn a harsh lesson. The very success that had brought them together could also tear them apart. What began as a noble mission to spread the gospel had turned into a battleground of ambition, trust, and betrayal. Little did they know that the storm was just beginning, and the ensuing drama would shake the foundations of Daystar to its core. Joni Lamb's leadership and controversies. Joni Lamb was no ordinary leader. She was a powerhouse of energy and charisma. As the face of Daystar, she commanded attention the moment she stepped on stage, her presence electric and her voice a clarion call for faith. But as her influence grew, so did the complexities of her leadership style. While many admired her passion and vision, others began to see a darker side to her assertive approach. It was a classic case of a leader who inspired many, but also polarized opinions among those closest to her. Joni's leadership style can be described as bold and unyielding. She had a clear vision for Daystar, one that was ambitious and expansive. Her desire to turn the network into a global beacon of Christian faith was admirable, but her methods raised eyebrows. Family members and employees began to feel the strain of her intensity. Joni expected loyalty and dedication, and while many rallied behind her, others chafed under the pressure. The line between inspiring leadership and controlling behavior began to blur, leading to whispers of discontent among her closest associates. One of the most pivotal moments in Joni's career, and a turning point in her relationship with her family, came during a sermon that would ignite controversy and debate. In a passionate address, Joni spoke about the importance of submission within the family structure, invoking biblical teachings that emphasize the need for followers to honor their spiritual leaders. With fervor and conviction, she declared that submission was a divine principle that could bring harmony and blessings into their lives. While many in the audience nodded in agreement, others recoiled. Critics argued that her message bordered on spiritual manipulation, creating an environment where dissent was not just discouraged but deemed sinful. The fallout was immediate and explosive. Family members who had previously supported Joni began to voice their concerns, questioning whether her teachings truly aligned with the principles of love and respect that they had always preached. Accusations of spiritual manipulation began to swirl around Joni like a storm. Detractors claimed that her sermons were less about fostering faith and more about consolidating her power. The very essence of what Daystar stood for, the message of hope, love, and community, was now being called into question. Supporters felt torn. They admired Joni's passion, but were uncomfortable with the implications of her teachings. The rift within the family deepened, as some members rallied around Joni while others began to speak out against what they perceived as an authoritarian approach. The controversy escalated when former associates of the Lambs started to come forward with their experiences. Some described a culture of fear where loyalty to Joni was paramount, and any dissent was met with hostility. They painted a picture of a ministry where questioning the leader's authority could result in isolation or even expulsion from the community. These revelations shocked many followers and turned the spotlight on Joni's leadership style in a way that was both alarming and heartbreaking. Susie Lamb. The Whistleblower's Perspective. In the shadow of the Lamb dynasty, Susie Lamb stood as a quiet yet resolute figure, a sister-in-law who had dedicated years to supporting the family's mission. With a heart full of faith and loyalty, she had once believed wholeheartedly in the vision of Daystar. But as the tensions within the family escalated and the cracks in their unity became more apparent, Susie found herself grappling with a moral dilemma that would ultimately lead her down a path of courage and confrontation. Susie's background was intertwined with the Lamb family from the start. Married to one of Marcus Lamb's brothers, she had been a part of the Daystar mission since its inception. Her dedication to the cause was unwavering, and for years, she worked behind the scenes, helping to craft the very fabric of the network that had touched so many lives. But as the years went by, Susie began to see a different side of the Lambs, a side that troubled her deeply. The tipping point came as whispers of misconduct began to circulate within the walls of Daystar. What had once felt like a ministry grounded in love and community started to reveal a darker reality. Susie witnessed firsthand the growing atmosphere of fear and manipulation that permeated the organization. The charismatic leadership of Joni, while inspiring to many, also masked a culture where dissent was not tolerated, and questions were met with hostility. Susie could no longer ignore the signs. With a heavy heart, Susie made the difficult decision to speak out. She knew the risks involved. Betraying a family that had once embraced her would come with a heavy price. Yet, her conscience could not remain silent in the face of alleged misconduct. She began documenting her concerns, collecting evidence of the spiritual manipulation and ethical breaches that had become all too common within the Lamb family. The weight of her revelations was immense, but so was her resolve. When Susie finally stepped into the light as a whistleblower, the impact was immediate and profound. Her courageous choice to speak out sent shockwaves through the Lamb family and the Daystar community. No longer were the issues confined to hushed conversations. They burst forth into the public eye, igniting a firestorm of media attention and scrutiny. Susie's claims painted a picture of a ministry in turmoil, where loyalty to leadership often trumped the principles of accountability and integrity. As the news broke, reactions varied wildly. Supporters of the Lamb family rallied around them, expressing disbelief and anger at Susie's allegations. How could she do this? Many wondered. But others, who had sensed the undercurrents of discontent for years, found their voices strengthened by her bravery. The fallout was palpable. Daystar's reputation, once gleaming with prestige, was now tarnished by the revelations of internal strife and ethical lapses. Scandals and secrets. Investigations into the inner workings of Daystar revealed a shocking array of allegations that would rock the foundation of the network. Reports of financial mismanagement, ethical violations, and personal misconduct began to surface, leaving many to wonder how far the cracks in the Lamb dynasty truly extended. The very essence of the ministry they had built was now under scrutiny, and the fallout promised to be explosive. At the center of this unfolding drama were key players, who had once been trusted allies but were now caught in a tangled web of accusations. Former employees, disillusioned by the culture they had experienced, stepped forward to share their stories. They spoke of a toxic environment where loyalty was prized above integrity, and where dissent was met with swift retribution. These insiders painted a harrowing picture of a ministry that had lost its way, consumed by ambition and the quest for power. Among the most notable figures was a high-ranking executive who had worked closely with Joni Lamb. Once seen as a loyal supporter, this individual became a whistleblower, revealing details about the extravagant spending habits of the leadership. Stories of lavish retreats, luxury cars, and personal expenses disguised as operational costs began to circulate, fueling a growing sense of betrayal among the network's supporters. The executive's decision to speak out sent shockwaves through Daystar, igniting a firestorm of media attention that was impossible to contain. As these revelations came to light, the implications for public perception became starkly evident. Followers who had once viewed the Lambs as paragons of virtue began to feel a sense of disillusionment. How could a ministry built on faith and charity engage in such questionable practices? Trust, which had taken years to cultivate, began to erode as supporters grappled with the reality that the Lamb family was not immune to the same pitfalls that plagued many organizations. The media frenzy surrounding the scandals only intensified the scrutiny. News outlets seized upon the story, eager to uncover the truth behind the facade. Investigative reports dug deeper, revealing layers of complexity that shocked even the most ardent supporters of Daystar. The narrative shifted from one of inspiration to one of scandal, and the Lamb family's legacy hung in the balance. In the midst of this chaos, the Lambs themselves faced an uphill battle. Joni and Marcus, once celebrated figures in the Christian community, were now at the center of a storm that threatened to engulf them. Their attempts to manage the fallout felt like trying to put out a raging fire with a garden hose. Every statement they made was scrutinized, every action dissected, as the public demanded answers. The Doug Weiss controversy. When it comes to the unraveling saga of the Lamb dynasty, the name Doug Weiss emerged as a central figure in a controversy that sent shockwaves through the Christian community. A well-known Christian counselor and author, Weiss was initially brought into the Daystar family to provide guidance and support. But what began as a professional relationship quickly spiraled into a scandal that would leave many questioning the integrity of the Lamb leadership. Doug Weiss, with his warm demeanor and impressive credentials, seemed like the perfect fit for the Lambs. With his background in counseling and his work with couples, he was welcomed into the fold as a trusted advisor. Joni Lamb, in particular, leaned on him for emotional support, especially during turbulent times within the family and network. However, as their relationship deepened, whispers began to circulate, hinting at a connection that went beyond mere friendship. The tipping point came when rumors of an emotional affair began to surface. Insiders claimed that the relationship between Joni and Doug had crossed professional boundaries, leading to speculation about the nature of their interactions. As Joni's close confidant, Doug was privy to the inner workings of the Lamb family's struggles, and many began to wonder whether his role as a counselor had turned into something far more intimate. The implications were staggering. Could the very leader of Daystar be involved in a scandal that threatened to undermine everything they had built? The fallout from these revelations was swift and devastating. As the whispers grew louder, the media caught wind of the story, turning it into a full-blown scandal. News outlets began to report on the alleged affair, painting a picture of a leader embroiled in controversy at a time when Daystar was already facing its own challenges. The combination of the Doug Weiss controversy and the existing tensions within the Lamb family created a perfect storm that drew the attention of the Christian community and beyond. Reactions poured in from all corners. Supporters of the Lamb family were torn between their admiration for Joni and their shock at the allegations. Many found it hard to reconcile the image of a devoted leader with the possibility of betrayal. On social media, discussions erupted, with some defending Joni's character, while others expressed outrage at the perceived hypocrisy of a Christian leader engaging in such behavior. The controversy sparked heated debates about accountability, integrity, and the expectations placed on leaders within the faith community. The financial stakes of Daystar's legacy. With internal conflicts brewing like a storm, the financial health of Daystar began to show signs of distress. Donations, which had once poured in from devoted supporters, started to dwindle as disillusionment set in. The faithful audience that had rallied around the Lambs began to question whether their contributions were being used wisely. Were they funding a ministry dedicated to spreading the gospel, or were they inadvertently supporting a soap opera filled with scandals and discord? This uncertainty created a crisis of confidence that reverberated through the organization. The Lambs faced a crucial challenge: how to balance their faith-based mission with the harsh realities of financial management. In the world of Christian broadcasting, the line between ministry and business often blurs, and Daystar was no exception. The network had grown significantly, and with that growth came increased operational costs. The lavish lifestyle of some leaders, coupled with allegations of financial mismanagement, raised eyebrows among supporters and staff alike. It was a delicate dance between maintaining a spiritual mission and addressing the pressing need for financial stability. High-profile decisions made during this tumultuous period had far-reaching consequences. As the pressures mounted, the leadership team found themselves at a crossroads. Should they tighten their belts and focus solely on core programming, or should they push for expansion to regain lost support? The tension was palpable, as each choice carried the weight of potential failure or success. Joni Lamb, once a celebrated leader, now found herself in a precarious position. The decisions she made would not only affect her family, but also the livelihoods of countless employees and the future of Daystar itself. One particularly controversial decision involved a high-stakes fundraising campaign aimed at revitalizing the network's financial health. The campaign promised to bring in millions, but it was met with skepticism. Critics argued that the Lambs were prioritizing financial gain over spiritual integrity. leading to a backlash that further fueled public doubt. The campaign was intended to showcase the network's vision for the future, but instead, it felt like a desperate attempt to patch the cracks in their foundation. As Daystar pushed for financial recovery, the specter of scandal loomed large, casting a shadow over their efforts. As the financial situation worsened, the consequences of the leadership disputes became increasingly apparent. Staff members grew anxious as rumors of layoffs and budget cuts circulated. The very people who had dedicated their lives to the ministry faced an uncertain future. The atmosphere at Daystar shifted from one of inspiration to one of apprehension, as employees worried not just about their jobs, but about the integrity of the organization itself. External pressures also mounted. Media outlets began to scrutinize Daystar's financial practices, digging into spending habits and investment strategies. The scrutiny intensified as more allegations of financial misconduct came to light, further complicating the already tumultuous situation. The narrative surrounding Daystar shifted from one of hope and faith to one of financial mismanagement and internal strife. Supporters who had once proudly championed the network were now left questioning their allegiance. The Jonathan Lamb Files. In the heart of the Lamb family drama, a new and shocking twist emerged from an unexpected source. Jonathan Lamb, the son of Joni and Marcus, once seen as a loyal supporter of the family's mission, Jonathan found himself torn between his allegiance to his parents and the chaotic storm of conflict swirling around them. In a bold move, he began recording conversations behind closed doors, capturing the raw emotions and explosive tensions that defined the family's struggles. What he uncovered would rock the very foundations of Daystar and expose the fractures within the Lamb dynasty. The secret recordings, dubbed the Jonathan Lamb Files, quickly became the talk of the town, igniting a media frenzy that no one saw coming. With each recording, Jonathan peeled back the layers of the family's internal disputes, revealing candid discussions filled with accusations, heartbreak, and a desperate longing for resolution. The content was a treasure trove for reporters and critics alike, as it provided an unfiltered glimpse into the turmoil that had been hidden from the public eye. One of the most explosive claims made in the recordings centered around allegations of manipulation and betrayal. In one particularly heated exchange, Jonathan confronted his mother, Joni, about her leadership style and the impact it was having on their family. "It's like you don't even see us anymore, Mom. It's all about the network," he exclaimed, his voice filled with frustration and hurt. This moment encapsulated the deep-seated feelings of alienation that had been brewing within the family, as Jonathan expressed what many felt but were too afraid to say. As the recordings circulated, reactions varied. Some rallied around Jonathan, viewing him as a whistleblower bravely exposing the truth. Others, however, criticized him for airing the family's dirty laundry in public. This should have stayed private, many lamented, feeling that Jonathan's actions only added fuel to an already raging fire. The family dynamic shifted dramatically as members took sides, with some supporting Jonathan's quest for transparency, while others sought to protect the family's image at all costs. In one particularly telling recording, Jonathan revealed the extent of financial concerns within Daystar. "We can't keep pretending everything is fine when we're drowning in debt," he said, his voice breaking with emotion. This admission struck a chord, as it underscored the precarious position the network found itself in amidst the family drama. The financial stakes were high, and the implications of their internal conflicts were becoming alarmingly clear. In the end, the Jonathan Lamb Files became more than just recordings. They transformed into a powerful symbol of the Lamb family's struggles and a clarion call for change. The fallout was far from over, and the implications of Jonathan's revelations would resonate throughout the Lamb dynasty for years to come. The question lingered. Could they find a way to heal and unite? Or would the rifts only deepen as the saga continued to unfold?